How's my
It's
camera
good.
quality?
It's decent.
Yeah, you look good.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. And before the comments of recoil to subject 31, you look good. First thing on the stream. What's up, everybody? It's Mech-Hop Mondays, episode 68. And today we are joined by our boy CRYSUS.
Mech-Hop Mondays.
What's up,
There it
guys?
is.
Happy to be
All
here
right,
with
so
y'all.
for those who don't
Well,
know CRYSUS, if you just want to give them kind of the lowdown, where you're from, what you're doing, what's your kind of general music interest, whatever the hell you want to say, let the people know.
Yeah. Okay. So, I'm from Wisconsin. So I'm repping like the Midwest out here. I've been producing for about 8 years now. I'm 20 years old. Yeah, I make a lot of different electronic music. Mostly heavier stuff. I also do some deep stuff, but I'm mostly like the kind of the heavier
Right,
sounds. So,
a like-minded
I guess that's about
individual.
it. Hell yeah,
All
brother.
right, so before we kind of get into the roll of things, we're just gonna finish up these posts here. We are live now.
check the
Mondays, episode 68.
So, do you find making like your deep dubstep helps you bounce off ideas for your heavier stuff? Because I always find it's nice to have that balance.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, it really depends. Um, Especially with like certain projects. I started off making like producing, making hip hop beats, and so a lot of my stuff actually is hip hop influenced. So like when I make deep stuff, I do try to still incorporate hip hop sounds and then like also heavy sounds. Like because I know like a lot of people have this stereotypical idea of deep dubstep being like kick snare and then like a low pass wobble, right? But I really try to still incorporate kind of heavy vibes and sounds in my deep stuff
Right.
as well, and vice versa.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I was thinking. Once you, I don't know, like once I was making more choppy stuff just for fun, like beats, I would start incorporating those drums and like dubstep tunes. So
Oh hell
it's
yeah!
nice when you get like a workflow going from something else and you can apply it.
Oh yeah, and like I think that somehow that's I mean, stuff is like it might be a dubstep tune, but with like it'll have trap influences and then like deep sounds and just combinations of different styles and different genres really makes like really crazy stuff sometimes.
Absolutely, dude. It's good to just like throw small little homages to your like heavier music too, or your deeper stuff. Like there's an unreleased Rico track actually called Supernova. That's like a melodic. What
It's
tempo is
actually
that
at
even at, Colin?
174, but it's
Like
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 it's more of like so
before?
it's like the regular drum step tempo, but it's like a four on the floor, but halftime. So I guess two on the floor kind
Oh shit.
of drum beat. Um, yeah, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
it's a really pretty track, but he like randomly. But it doesn't sound random, but it's like on an off day, he has like a and it's so awesome because it's a robot noise and like a melodic tune. I love tracks that like
Hey, you
Yeah,
some
should
artists
send
have
me
it's
that.
it's so old at this point. I think it's like almost 2 years old now. I gotta like remodel the mix down before I like send it out.
I
Yeah,
would love to
yeah.
hear
Maybe
it.
I'll play it on the stream too.
used.
Um,
That's what like.
If we're talking about like old favorites from Colin, fucking Rotary.
hey,
Oh my
Yeah,
God, dude. I remember like one of my first like actual like live gigs ever. I played that
uh,
shit. Dude,
that's
that shit is so
awesome.
good.
yeah.
I love
I
that one.
loved making that one. I was so pissed when that project file corrupted.
You and the rest of the scene, man.
I don't know about all that. But yeah, there's definitely some people that were like, I can't believe you fucking lost this, you know?
Dude, that shit was so good. It still is to this day. I'm just posting this link in a couple
Yeah.
more spots.
I don't know why
Absolutely,
my
bro.
shit fails to fucking show up. I save a photo on my phone and it doesn't show up for my stories.
On God.
About a dupe. I'm gonna do the janky fucking screenshot of a photo. How to do it that way.
That was me singing Super Bowl.
Yeah. So, Scott, what have you been working on other than like school shit? Have you started anything? Have you been trying to finish up anything right now?
Well, so I have like this huge bundle of tunes right now that I've been like, fuck, who do I send this to? And I sent it to DPMO earlier this month, and Funkcase is really liking a few of them, and he's been playing them
Nice.
out. But I also am gonna shoot for a label still, like not just a compilation. So James, just to highlight how good of a guy like Funkcase is and how his process is, he actually is testing out those tunes. He might not even want to release it on the compilation, but I like message him. I'm like, just so you know, I would really like it if it would be cool with you if I sent this to other labels. And he's like, yeah, I'm not like holding the tunes hostage or anything. I
Oh
just really
shit.
like DJing them, and like if you find like a better home for them, like it's not like you wouldn't take it personally. And it was just like that was
Yeah,
super
that's
nice.
that's few and
I
far
remember.
between, that kind of mindset, you know. A lot of labels are like, no,
Yeah.
don't,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
that's really cool. And what I love about him, like, I mean, I don't know him personally, I don't talk to him, but just from like following him for years, like you can tell that he's like about the music, like nothing else. Like he just loves the music. He loves putting, the underground dudes on. He loves
Yeah,
bringing new talent
yeah,
up.
he's all about it. He's really like for the culture, you know.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and it's such a
100%.
respectable trait.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, it's not often that you get people like that in the scene, especially people
Oh
that are
yeah.
like doing well. You know, I feel like some of those
Yeah,
people
that
get
high
like,
up.
I don't want to share. I don't want to share what I have going on. You know.
Exactly. Yeah, no, definitely. And it's a sad reality.
Yeah, but it is what it is. You know, assholes have been here and will be here until the end of time. So.
That's definitely true. That's definitely true. But there's also a lot of good people too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought I'd just like share that because it was nice and it was kind of a weight off my back because like I don't know, I was about to send it to a label, and then he started playing it out. I'm like, fuck, like what do I do? Like, like, yeah, he was just super chill about the whole thing. So
Uh-huh.
yeah,
That's
I'm
awesome.
I'm pretty happy about that. Yeah,
Good for you, man.
I did expect that from, thanks, dude. I did expect that from James. Like some, you know, people like with how their labels work. Like I would have completely understood if he's like, no, keep this tune for me.
Right.
So yeah, made me
Yeah.
happy. So
That's good shit, man.
yeah. Aside from that, probably whatever doesn't make it on a label, I'll just keep doing singles like I did last month.
Yeah.
So,
That's always good. It's always good to like keep putting shit out. That's something I'm struggling with right now.
Yeah, it is hard to like ramp your output up, you know.
Yeah, especially because like I feel like I can't finish tunes like
I'm the
that.
same way. I've been trying to be better about it. I actually made a post
Mhm.
about it recently, and um, for anybody that might be wondering, like, what
What is?
the change was for me, and like something that's been really, really helping me, it's literally the mindset. And I went from sitting down and kind of wondering what I'm gonna work on, and then just loading something up and like tweaking it, to sitting down with the intention of getting a lot done during the session. And like that sounds like
Yeah,
such
yeah.
a simple thing, but really, like, I gotta tell you, my productivity has probably doubled, like, in the past
No,
couple
dude,
weeks.
I totally get that.
Yeah.
I like probably like last week, I I was going through a rut for a while where I just couldn't get shit done, or like I would do something if I opened up my project, like the habit of like just playing it on loop and loop and loop and just playing it over and over, and then just closing it eventually. uh,
Yeah.
that's something I found myself falling into a lot. But like I said, like last week, I was like, okay, I got to get some shit done today, and I actually worked on like a few projects and got a significant amount of work done. It really is like you're saying, like the
Yeah,
mindset, like you have to, and you really have to do, uh, you have to free yourself from distractions as well.
yeah,
I feel like if I put my phone somewhere away from me, I'm like so much more
right,
focused. If I'm not checking Facebook or Twitter, uh, you know, if I'm not, playing a game, like, switching between video games
yeah.
and production, or,
Sometimes that is
watching TV or
beneficial though.
something.
Like I find
Oh,
myself
definitely.
like, there are some days where I'm working on laptop speakers, and like as I'm listening back, like I'll have Need for Speed going, and like just doing some non-objective shit on Need for Speed, and that's a game that you can like pause and like come back to for the most part. So like
Yeah.
I really like that. Or like Rocket League, like I'll play a game of Rocket League and then come back and keep going, and then like, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool how many of us are just gamers that like will go fucking play a game for 3 hours and then go produce for
Yeah,
3 hours.
yeah,
And
it's
it's
funny.
that I find the best one now, even though I don't play multiplayer games as much anymore. Like I just got the new COD, so I haven't gotten into this like um pattern, I guess. But like playing like 3 or 4 games of COD and then producing
Hmm.
for an hour and a bit, and then like once you get a little bit stuck producing, play a few more games. It's like a nice way. Like the only issue is like as I said in the other stream, like I got Outer Worlds, and like a game like that, I'm gonna fucking play for 8 hours and then
Yeah.
produce.
You want to do the games where you can't put it down.
Yeah, yeah,
So like
definitely.
like I just on a side note, real quick, I just tried that new COD, dude. Like I don't have it, but my homie does. Dude, that shit's
Yeah,
so good.
I want to try
it's
it so
it's a big
bad.
upgrade.
I gotta.
Dude, it's
The
so.
only
You go ahead.
oh
What's up?
sorry, I was just gonna say the only thing I don't like is I do miss some of the older maps, but I do think it's like the best designed one in
Yeah.
5 or 6 years, probably
Yeah.
longer.
I really like
Yeah,
the search mode, like where it's like if you get
I
killed,
love her.
you can still get revived. Like
Mm,
that's pretty sick.
I haven't played that yet, actually.
Dude, yeah,
That's
so like
cool.
it's search, but if you're dropped and you're killed, your teammates can come and revive you, and then you're back in the round.
Dang. Yeah,
So it makes it like
I'm
more.
trying to think if that's gonna be my next purchase, or if it's gonna be Need for Speed Payback, cause, or not Payback, excuse me. Heat just dropped. I already have Payback, but I love Need for Speed, dude. Like, I don't know. I feel like I've kind of fallen behind on first person shooters. Like it.
Yeah, me too.
I just like, I don't know, man. I don't want to go in and like rage hard because of how bad I am now. You know, like I'd rather keep that stress to a minimum. But like,
Yeah.
I was honestly, like a week ago, I hopped on Destiny for the fuck of it and hit the Crucible, and it was all good until I got into a match where everybody was just fucking dive shotgunning. I was like, all right, I'm out.
Wait, hold up. I want to pause for a second and just say like shout out to people in the chat. Like shout out Prime Audio.
Oh,
Shout
Yeah.
out.
Prime
Yep.
Audio.
Yep. Gotta rep the set, man. Gotta rep the
That's
set.
good.
Shout out Tantrum. Shout out my dude Diamond Shock. Uh, Shout out anyone in the chat, really. If
Yeah,
you're say hi if you're here.
the whole
So
gang's
I
here.
moved spots because Chris fucking texted me, Scott, clean your damn camera lens. It's like the focus on this MacBook one, I swear. But here, look at Chris. There you go. I'm doing it. There you go.
Oh,
Oh wow,
Can you see that better now?
yeah.
Yeah, it's better.
you actually do look
I
a
thought
lot
it was
better
the
now.
focus. I thought it was the focus.
Yeah, I
Fuck.
thought it was Skype fucking you, but.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, Chris, you win. This is me signing off.
Gone.
Oh my god.
Gone until Not
Alright,
November's
so
over.
I'm
oh
gonna send him.
man.
Yeah, this is my my mind during November was the camera.
Oh god.
No clarity.
So like, I think like I want to take some questions from the chat. Like, if you guys are
Of
down for
course.
that. Like, if everyone watching live has any questions, like just throw them in there.
Right on.
Tantrum said Scott just went from iPhone 2 to iPhone 600.
Also, I want to shout out Tantrum at the same time on the new EP. That's
Oh, dude, that shit is so good. That shit is
Yeah.
so good.
Definitely fire. What's up,
Fucking-
Sam Kelly? Oh shit. He just hit me up out of the blue the other day again. I hadn't talked to him for a while, but Sam Kelly's a legend. If you know Sam Dub Kelly, you know.
Sam Dub.
Absolute legend. Let's yeah, I'm gonna head to the Facebook group.
Okay, yeah, someone says drum mix down
Yes,
tips.
that was a big point
Yeah, that's a good one.
in the Facebook group.
Does anyone want to start?
So I can let you guys say what you want to say about it, and then I can actually go on to Ableton and explain a couple things on my end.
Oh yeah, good shit. Okay, so I'll start, I guess. For me, I think a big thing that helps is like I'm an Ableton user, so I put everything into groups, into buses. And you know, I have my specific racks for like my kicks and my snares that I use, but they're actually really, really simple. It's usually just, you know, I start with the utility. You know, just remove DC offset, and then I like to turn on that feature that's bass mono, so anything below like a certain frequency is mono. I like that for the kick drum, because then like bass of the kick drum in mono, but then you can still have some of the top end, you know, that's still kind of stereo. So I kind of like that. I saturate pretty much everything, my drums especially. Saturation, I think, is something that can really beef shit up, you know, like make it slap hard, you know, or it's like soft clipping. And that's really all it is. So my drum chain for like a kick or a snare is honestly just a utility, saturator, an EQ, and at the end it's just a glue compressor. Right. And then on my bus for those, I just have a soft clipper and Ableton's drum bus, and that really, I feel like it makes my drums just like slap.
I definitely gotta get back with the drum bus.
So nice.
Plug in there, because it definitely has a really, really nice sound. Scott, did you want to touch on the processing at all?
Yeah. Well, lately I've been like going through so many different types of drums. So it is a little bit more of a situational thing. What I find when I'm mixing down drums a lot of the time is I'm modeling a lot of my other things kind of around the drums, whether that's like the waveform of the synth, whether that's the waveform of the sub. So like I don't have to do crazy side chain on my drums when my like sub is a square wave and it hits a little bit later. than the kick, you don't have that compromise. So honestly, lately my mix sounds have been simpler but easier to comprehend because there isn't so many frequencies clashing. So I guess like my piece of advice is to consider your other elements while you're making your synths and you're automating everything else because that's how my drums have come through cleaner without me even having
Mm-hmm.
to really try. It's pretty nice. Like it's literally because I remember talking to Midnight Key how he doesn't sidechain a lot of his drums, and I do sidechain a lot of my drums still. Don't get me wrong, but if you already are making your synths like automated in a certain way, you don't really need to be doing as much. It's just I don't know. It's a really
Right.
nice trick.
So
Nice
kind of what
idea.
you're saying. So kind of what you're saying is like you design your synths or your sub or whatever it is to kind of manually automatically sidechain. So like
Exactly. Yeah. And
instead of
before I
using
was
a compressor, you just draw it in the envelope of the sound.
exactly, and I used to
Okay.
use volume automation just because that way I could see what was happening. Like I mean, doing it through Fruity Limiter is pretty nice too, but I like the visual aid of a volume automation, and now just having that within my plugin, like if I load up a sound I really liked in another tune, I don't really have to
Mm-hmm.
tweak that part of it, you know. Um, so it's just nice, like helpful.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh
that's awesome.
yeah.
Um, all right, so let me switch this over real quick. Let me see if I can.
Wait, hold up. Shout out Uzi. Your
Oh
tunes are fucking
yeah,
fire.
yeah, those are the
I don't know you personally, but I know your tunes and they're
boys.
fucking fire, man. Big up.
Yeah, those are my guys. Okay, so let me switch over to this Inception, and here I'll try to bring
Guess I can move back over here. I thought it was the lighting over here that was hair bad, but
these guys over. Stop cyberbullying
very
me.
cool.
All right, so I'm gonna have to manually import my guys real quick. Give me one sec. Yeah, I'm just gonna throw together some trash ass drums and then show them how I would go about it. All right, there's Scott.
There I am.
Boom.
Oh shit, okay, I see what you're doing.
Let's stack the boys up. We'll do. We will grab CRYSUS. I guess this can serve as a little tutorial for OBS too.
Hey guys, I'll be right back. All right, I'll be back in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
All good.
All right. Here we go. This should work. Hopefully, I'm not gonna clip off anything that's too important. So we'll go in here. Just grab some shit real quick. This is like a super well mixed kit already, but I'll bring it up to 150 hertz dubstep. And isolate this first kick. And we will
I've returned.
grab a clap. What's good?
Had to grab a charger.
And I'm basically just gonna duplicate these anyway. We'll just do like
Okay, you're screen sharing. Okay.
yeah. And here, I guess so you guys don't have an issue following along, I'll throw throw the screen.
I mean, I got the stream. I got it open.
Word.
I got it open on my phone. The stream.
Mm.
Let's see. Is that working for you guys on?
Yeah. I see it.
Yeah.
Sick skin, bro.
Thanks, man. I just fucking I put it on dark mode and then I changed the color intensity.
Yeah, I feel you.
So let's just do like bullshit because that's simple enough and it won't take too much time. Alright, so
Someone said there's some echo from CRYSUS. Uh-oh. Really? Really?
Oh. Yeah, because I had to create a new thing. There we go.
An audio crisis.
This should be a little better here.
My phone sound is off.
Okay. No. It was strictly from my program here, I promise.
Okay. And some Melvin in the chat said turn the phone sound off.
Yeah, I gotta blow Scott up real quick. There we go. Now it won't be variable. Okay. So now we have this. And the hat is just blowing your head off, but
Random.
okay, so basically what Anthony CRYSUS was saying, the first thing I do is I'm gonna group these up, and to stay organized I'll instantly, label that drums. And
Yep.
even this, just to stay organized, I'll rename these, right? So I have kick, clap, hat. And you can put them whatever color you want. I always do red because to me it just makes sense. It's like intensity, right? You want, me personally, I like my drums to be intense and to be like a very big focal point of the mix, so I go with red.
Yeah, I always make my drums black, like my kick snare are black.
There you go.
And then all percussion is yellow.
Yeah.
Very metal.
So whatever.
It's pretty much just because the black like sticks out to me.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, whatever.
I don't know. I've just been doing that for years.
Whatever's gonna like draw your attention and whatever you're comfortable with and whatever you're gonna be able to find quickly, I think that's like the main.
Exactly.
The main
Exactly.
thing there. And then again, like CRYSUS said, maybe you'll load up a saturator on these and just push them a little bit. But that's obviously way overkill, so sometimes, or a lot of times rather, you might want to go parallel with it, so you'll mix with this kind of dry wet knob, and you can just mix it into taste. And that's a nice way of bringing in the intensity, but you're still, because the dry wet mix is so low, you're still retaining some of those peaks of the transients and everything, and you're not fully squashing anything, so that's a big issue, especially when people are throwing clippers on the master too. Like, you definitely want to preserve some transients in the mix down phase, because if you're completely dynamically killing your drums before the master and then you're clipping the master too, then it's just gonna squash them even more. They're gonna be so fucking flat that like you're not really gathering any beauty from them anymore. They're literally just like sounds, as opposed to in an ideal world for me, like, you want the drums to be dynamic. You wanna like feel them and everything, not so much just flatly hear them. You want them to like be transient,
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a big problem I hear in a lot of like newer dubstep and like earlier producers, like people who are like still learning a lot, or like maybe in their first year or so, is I feel like they don't bring the drums through their mix enough. Like like Recoil's saying here, your drums are the rhythm of the track, right? So they should be the loudest part of your song, because especially in bass music, That's the whole rhythm. Some heavy dubstep. That's what people are gonna headbang in
Yeah,
time with,
yeah,
right? If you're making house music, that's what people are gonna fist bump to. So you need to provide the rhythm, and if the drums are kind of buried in the mix down,
uh-huh,
it's gonna be a lot harder for people to follow the rhythm of the track.
totally. Um, I will say also, for my Ableton users out there, um, if you have like a kick drum that you want to tighten up, and you don't want to reach directly for an actual transient shaper, 9 times out of 10 I start with this. So I'll warp and you keep it on beats mode, and then down here under the preserve transient, if you go to the first option, this is essentially now a transient shaper. So I'll show you what I mean. As I just decrease this value, the kick sample is going to get shorter. So check this out.
Yeah.
So you can see that's right there. I definitely brought it too far in, but that's just the initial transient right there. And then all of this kind of sub bass area that's ringing out is getting, undone. And if I consolidate that, you'll be able
That's
to see it too. You see how much thinner that is.
that's a good That's a good trick, actually. I didn't know that. I always, if I'm doing stuff like that, I always just use,
Yeah,
the fades.
yeah. So this is like an easier way, because you can also, like I just did, you can highlight multiple at the same time. Like even if you have a full song,
And consolidate them.
you can just highlight these multiple and make sure that they're all on beats and they all have this, and then you're editing them all, like the overall transient of them all at the same time. Whereas fades you have to do individually, or you have to do one of them and then you have to duplicate all the way over in all the instances. So that's something that I definitely use, and the values are gonna change, on where you might want it here, because obviously some kicks are longer and more resonant than others, and there are a million different factors. Maybe you're going harder on the drum bus processing here, so you can get away with a shorter kick overall, and maybe you'll use it in that way, because with a shorter kick that's more of a spiky transient, I think you can get away with more clipping or limiting. But it's completely up to how you want to go about it. But yeah, big thing is going to be saturation and parallel saturation at
Yeah.
that, and then compression on top of it maybe. Um, there are
Yeah.
definitely occasions where I'll go to the glue compressor, um, and
hmm That's what I
you
use
can do
for that.
like this 3 millisecond attack here, and I normally just give it a couple decibels of gain reduction, if that. And I want to make sure that this isn't clipping out too. So it's a pretty slight emphasis on that really snappy transient of the drums that you can just do after some clipping to maybe further reinforce the actual transient information that you still have left over. If you feel like you have to drive the saturator so far to get this tonality that you want, you might be able to bring back some of the transient information through some kind of compression like that on the drum bus. Not everybody does
Yo, so Colin, I got it.
drum bus processing too, so this is kind of I don't want to say niche, but like it's just one way of going about it, and there's a million ways to do everything
Absolutely.
in music production.
So I got a question for you about your method here. Is there a reason why you group your hats with your kick and snare? Or
I
clap?
just like if I were to put the dry wet mix here up all the way, it's literally just a personal taste thing, but I like the way that hats crunch with kicks and snares when you saturate them together, as opposed to just doing the kick and snare.
And then do you not sidechain your cymbals?
I do. I don't cut them out 100% though. So, um, I normally do like maybe like 4-ish decibels of side chaining on my hats, if that. Um, because I don't find it to be a super bad issue. I normally mix my hats low as it is, just so I maintain the volume from the kick and snare, and like they're not being outweighed by the hats. But again, that's a
Right.
personal choice. You know, everybody does things differently. There are definitely people that mix their
Yeah,
drums
so
lower than I do, and mixing the hats lower within the drums allows me to, you know, push the kick and snare a little further in terms of volume and not have the overall drums get overbearing, if that makes sense.
yeah, so personally what I do is I'll separate my kick and snare from all other percussion, whether it be cymbals or, toms or, any extra claps or snaps or, anything that I might have, any percussion that is not my
Right.
main kick or snare is actually separated. I
Gotcha.
mix them separately.
That makes sense. Yeah. Certainly.
Uh-huh.
Have you?
Okay.
Lately, I just focus on go in and have a really thick, high bass ones, and I actually have to like compensate by adding like a little bit of mid end and high end to the picks, which I never really did before. So this is a good way to cut it off, so it's not absolutely
Yeah. I
destroying
mean,
my mix or whatever.
again,
Final thoughts.
it is kind of personal taste, you know, like I said. Um, I think that you do mix in a way that works with your drum selection and everything, and that's what it's about at the end of the day. Like, if you're gonna use something, like, you have to make space for it, however that may be. Like, maybe you're gonna dedicate more of the low end to the kick drum as opposed to the sub bass, just to be able to let a boomy kick kind of come through and not fuck everything up, for lack of a better term. Um, but yeah, and, I think your mixes have always worked, you know, and that's just a testament. Like, no one way is really right. I just wanted to give you guys kind of some insight onto how I might go about mixing things there real quick, just because I know there's not a whole. I feel like not a lot of people even have videos up on YouTube of like drum bus processing. I feel like not so many people do that in terms of electronic music. I think it's more of like obviously like acoustic drums people group, you know, when they're doing like rock records or something like that. And then B, there's also my flavor comes from hip hop, where like, you know, you were getting back
Me
in the
too.
day, this kind of methodology comes from the old MPCs that people were using back in the day for drums, and even full songs they would make on MPCs. And what would happen is MPCs had this output distortion on them, like the older MPCs had this output distortion on them that would clip things that go over. So that's why that's such an almost like old school hip hop vibe when your drums are like kind of clipped, is because like that's what they were doing back in the day. They were fucking driving their kicks and snares through the MPC distortion, and it just gave them a really warm sound. But yeah, that's just some extra little blabber for you there.
I just wanted to something in the along with what you were saying, but now I'm losing my train of thought. Fuck.
You're all good if it comes back to you.
Good night. Good night, Melvin.
Yeah, good night, brother.
Take it easy.
Sleep well.
Be safe, Angle.
Thanks for coming in.
Okay, so I think one
Your
of the
song
other.
here was Prime.
What did you say?
I just said it was pretty prime. Or Prime here was pretty prime.
Oh my god.
Sorry. That's a note for me, Chief. Yeah.
So one of the questions I remember seeing in the group was about song titles and how do we come up with them and when do we come up with them, before, during, or after the songwriting process. I thought that was a pretty good question.
I think it's a good one. I think it's situational for me. I don't know about you guys, but
Definitely.
lately, uh, lately I've decided on the song name well in advance, just so it's for organizational purposes a little bit. And I don't know, like that one thing I just put out, Evil, which is spelled 3V1L. It was
Hmm.
named political, but like
I
spelled with a
remember.
Y.
Who remember? Who remember?
Yeah. You remember?
I remember.
But like to make it fit more with like the bundle of tunes I was releasing in October, that's why I changed the name. So that was like the first time in a very long time I actually decided to just change the name like way longer after I made the tune, like pretty much a year
Mhm.
after. So
It's like that
yeah, I
sometimes.
think
Absolutely. For
I think
myself,
vocal
oh, sorry, go
sounds
ahead, bro.
too, right? Sorry, bro. I was just
No,
gonna say
you're
one
good. I'm sorry.
that's easier one. Like if you have a vocal sound, hold out like for example, Run for Cover.
Who
Or
made that one?
That
I
song
don't know
sucks.
who. Yeah, so someone's literally saying "run for
Right.
cover" before the drop,
Right.
and you name it like something else. There has to be like personal, I think, reasoning to do
Right.
that, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. For
Sorry.
me, for me, it's like, I thought this was an interesting question because I can draw inspiration. I mean, I often do draw inspiration from anything, and I'm sure you guys can relate. So it could be from a movie or from a video game or a picture or another song or
Yeah.
anything, and it can inspire me to want to make music. And I feel like for me, when I get inspired to make something, it appears as like an image almost. Like I get the idea for the song as like an image or a certain vibe exactly. So let me think of for an example. Like, okay, so my first release with Prime Audio was last year, and it was a deep tune on their Prime Access thing. And basically, I was playing like a shit ton of Dark Souls at the time, and like just the vibe of Dark Souls, like really inspired me to like
Yeah.
to like for what I was going. And so sometimes song titles might come to me before I make the song. Sometimes they might come
Mhm.
after. Sometimes like Scott said, they might come well after. Like
Yeah.
there's been plenty of times where I'll just name a tune just whatever until I'm like, this is actually a
Right.
better name.
If
Um,
if we
but
yeah, if we had a symbiotic in right
Oh my
now,
god.
is that someone who's allowed to name his
Oh
tune?
my god. He's definitely not shots fired or anything,
Sorry.
but he's definitely the worst with track names.
Imagine being like a 14-year-old sharing a family computer to produce, and some dude sending you like wet vagina
Yeah.
V8 or something.
wait, hold up. I want to make a timeout real quick. Shout out with Sam Foreign. That's my
Yeah.
boy. Thanks for the love in
Yeah.
the comments, man. We have a collab coming out. Uh,
Oh, sick.
hopefully later this month. I mean, it's clipped on my SoundCloud right now, but the full version will be out. I think sometime this month.
Plug the SoundCloud
Uh,
URL.
it's just soundcloud.com
There
slash
you go.
crisis.
You heard it here first.
But yeah, shout out Foreign, dude is killing shit. Same with my dude
Yeah.
Diamond Shock. He's also in the
Yeah.
chat. Dude never releases music. He doesn't release music, but the music he has is incredible. And when he's ready to release it, it's gonna blow
Word.
everyone away.
Yeah, Foreign has some really sick sound design right now. I really,
Oh
really like
fuck
what he's
yeah.
doing. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so for me, in terms of naming tracks, I definitely have like when it starts out, I'll try and do something descriptive of the sound of the song. So like right now I have like a few projects in my recent. I have October 19 melody idea. Like that's a liquid drum and bass track. So like I know that I started it in October and it was a melodic track. So like that's good enough for now. I'm definitely gonna like get an actual name for the track at some point. And then there's I have 150 Mech-Hop, right? So it's 150 BPM and it's like a Mech-Hop vibe. It's not like straight dubstep or anything. Um, what else? What else do I have? I have 128 Mech-Hop. Drums,
Is that how you always name your
drum
project?
step September 19. Um,
Okay, so you're way more organized than me, because some of my stuff is called just like bullshit. Uh, this kind of sucks.
yeah,
Right?
I
Yeah.
I
Keep working
used
on
to
it.
do that, but like um, especially Ableton makes it pretty simple to like redo. So like I'll have them sitting at that kind of name for a little bit, and then what'll happen is I'll start playing with like samples because a lot of the times I just record samples whenever I hear something that I think might work. So I keep them all in a bin, and then like I'll kind of like audition a couple maybe for a track, and then if something sticks, then I rename the project file to
Yeah.
whatever kind of either vibe the sample is or like the quote of the sample, something like that, so I can even better kind of keep track of it, and then like
I think that's a good way to go about
yeah,
it.
yeah, just rename as soon as you have something kind of more set in stone that could work for it. Um, and like I said,
I do recommend like you're saying, like making a name that's memorable to you, so you can at least find the
yeah,
project.
Yeah,
That, that's
yeah.
what I've been better about lately. Whether that is this kind of sucks or whatever, you know what I mean. As long as you know that's the song and you don't have four similar songs name the same
right,
thing, which is what I used to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do that.
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, is this the right one? Or you know what sucks for me too is like, okay, so for example, you guys are talking about sample selection. Like, let's say I found a vocal sample that I fucking love, and the vocal sample makes me think, okay, the
uh-huh,
song will be called this, right? I might use it in one project and think, okay, once this is done, this will be that song, right? But then I stop touching it for a while, and then months later, I make something better, and I use that sample again, at, and then I actually call
Yeah.
that one
yeah,
that tune, and then go like months later, going back and trying to find which one was the real thing
yeah,
is like, oh fuck, like
That's
yeah.
true.
so. I see another question in here. I mean, that kind of ties in with all this, and it says, how many projects do you guys normally work on at a time? Do you focus on one at a time or
I
switch
don't think
between
I've ever
several?
focused on one at a time
Everyone.
in my life. Honestly, like
Same
I
here, man.
I wish I did
honestly it
that.
helps me
Yeah,
stay in the
Oh.
yeah.
studio, like, or it's not even like a real studio I work in, but like it helps me stay in studio mode if I have like, I work 3 hours on something and then I have something else that's kind of a different vibe that I could maybe switch over to and see if I could get any ideas rolling for, like I I'm a big believer in just like practice, 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 right? So if I lose inspiration on one project, I want to be able to try and find some inspiration in something else, or even just get myself thinking a little differently in terms of a different project for a little bit. Like sometimes I'll just start a beat, like I'll be kind of burned out on a track, and I'll just go and start a beat, and then like maybe I'm working on the beat and I'm like, this might work for an intro for something too, So then I'll start experimenting with sound design and then like maybe start a whole new track just after like 3 hours and I got burnt out on another song, So like I'm a big believer in just trying to be productive, you know, for a good chunk of time. So definitely upwards of like 5 that I'm working on at a time, and like sometimes they'll drop out. Sometimes like I'll be working on 5 for a week, and then I start focusing on 3 of those or something for like the next couple weeks or something like that.
That's smart.
You know, and really see what has potential and what I'm feeling like I could finish up more soon than the others, and try and focus on the ones that I feel like I could kind of see out a little quicker. But yeah, that's kind of my process there.
Yeah, for me, it really depends, because like I have like a shit ton of projects, right? And I'm sure you guys are the same way. So I have a shit ton of projects. Some are like I made it yesterday. Some are like I made this 2 years ago. You know, uh, in terms of me still working on it, you know, I have projects that long surpass 2 years, but in terms of me still working on them, like so it's hard because like for example, and this kind of relates to the song title thing. I have this one song that I'm working on that I've had this exact vibe for, set in stone. I have the title set in stone. I have the intro and the build all set in stone. But I can't get a fucking drop that I'm happy with for the life of me. And it's been that way for about 2-3 years now. Like, I
had to sneak it in
Shout
there.
out Lil Jon.
That's a crowd favorite.
Yeah, I hate that, man. I've lots of projects like that. Sorry to let Lil Jon down as well, but
so, but like, to finish my thought, I think eventually I'll get it. You know, eventually I'll get it done. So I always keep it in my recents. So like I'm always working on multiple projects. I'm always working on multiple projects. And some I like more than others. Some will turn into tunes. Some will sit there and collect dust. Um, but what I love about Ableton in particular is, you know, most of my projects are done within the same folder. So if, let's say I have this project that I liked, but it didn't turn into a full song, I can go inside of Ableton and like just grab shit from that project and put it into new stuff straight from the Ableton browser, which is like super nice. Because let's say, okay, this track had a really cool 808 line in it, so, and you know, whether or not it was in the same key, like I'll have the MIDI with it, so I can like just transpose it, or you know, like I can just take ideas from different projects and put them in to like new projects, and I feel like that's a way that you can like infinitely be working on a million different projects.
I need to get more into that personally, because that's functionality that definitely was not in Logic to my knowledge, and like I still you know, have the Logic mindset a lot of the times when I'm working, aside from like the obvious hotkeys and everything that are beautiful about Ableton, but like stuff like that I haven't really experimented with that functionality, but I definitely should, because you know,
do it, man.
Yeah,
game
totally.
changing.
Like being able to drag in racks and shit, like that's super dope.
Now, dude, another thing that a lot of like Ableton users like don't know about really, like, I mean, I am friends with a lot of Ableton users, and every time I tell them about this feature, they're like, like what? It's the Ableton clips. Like, do you know what those are?
I don't think
so. Okay, so an Ableton clip is I can save a track. So let's say I am collabing with an Ableton user, right? And instead of sending a stem or a MIDI clip with a patch, I can save something as an Ableton clip, which will save the plugin with the preset, all my post-processing, all my MIDI, and all my automation into one file. So then if I give it to, like, let's say I have a serum patch with, you know, some post-processing, a bunch of automation, and a bunch of MIDI. I could save it all into one file. So if I gave that to you, you could take that file, throw it into Ableton, and it'll have my patch, my MIDI,
Nice. So
my
you don't have
automation,
to
and all
like
my
send a whole
post-processing.
project file. You could be like,
Okay.
hey, I don't like the drums I
Exactly.
made, but here's like the bass line or something. That's tough.
Exactly.
I really like that.
It's so nice. So nice. And all you do to save it, so like,
I
do you have
do,
Ableton
yeah.
open right now?
Yes.
Can you pull it up?
Share screen to you.
I'm also
That's
making
actually
a
like
list of
pretty
tunes
cool.
for us
Oh, nice.
to peep.
Yeah, we gotta
Sure.
get at that soon. We're already at 55
We gotta do
minutes.
that. Like after this, we should hop on
Yeah,
that.
yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
So okay, so like, just load up some random. It can be like an Ableton preset or like, or actually no, use a third-party synth, like just some random shit. It could even be like the most basic, like massive pluck, like factory preset or serum. It just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What do I have here saved?
Okay, cool. Now throw a couple effects on it.
A fan favorite.
A
Okay.
couple of TTs.
Holy shit. Okay, so now, oh my god.
The
So
feedback.
now just draw like a simple MIDI clip. Like just it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Okay. So now click the clip.
Do what now?
Click the MIDI clip,
Uh-huh.
and you see where it says user library.
Yes.
Drag that into there. And then so just drag that MIDI clip from your project into there, and then you can name it. And then yeah, if you drop it back in, it'll have everything.
Shit. That's crazy. OTT.
Yeah.
That's really
such-
helpful, even within your own project too. Hey, like if you
Yeah.
want to just like make another instance of that, or make a different synth, so like throw that on it. That'd be a good way.
Yeah, dude.
Of
But
just very
my
quickly.
favorite use of it was for collabs. Like
Big
it's so
time.
nice. I think we should start. Doing some tunes.
Let's do it.
Let me grab I have a couple that people sent me privately.
Cool.
Real Mech-Hop shit. Viewer submissions, bitch.
Yeah.
Viewer submissions, bitch.
It's lit.
I love it.
Okay, so I got one from Dustkiller.
Nice. Shout out Dustkiller for the constant support. He's
Hell
seriously
Hell yeah.
always supporting the social media shit and everything. Doesn't go unnoticed.
And his
Yeah.
tunes are fire. Is Diamond Shark still up in here? Let's see.
Oh, peace out, Sam. Take care, buddy.
Regardless, if you listen to your tunes right now, obviously make sure to try and relay the feedback to people who missed the
Yeah.
stream or whatever.
Yes, definitely. Hold up, guys. I'm just grabbing one more.
No problem.
All right, here we are. Boom. I sent it to the Facebook chat.
Oh, yeah.
So that's it, dude.
All right. So, where's this Dustkiller one? We should start with that.
Oh, we're starting. You want to start with that one? It's on the bottom.
There we go. Yeah.
You want to start with that one?
Because we already bigged him up. We gotta Gotta get it rolling.
Yeah.
All right. So this is
Hold up, one
Duskilla,
second.
Bridge of Death.
Wait, hold up.
Oh, I'm still sharing my screen too. Let's get back over here.
My shit is lagging hard as fuck right now. Hold up. Fuck.
You're still
Holy
cool on
shit.
our end, so.
No, I'm just saying, like, I'm trying to pull up the tune. It's lagging.
Being slow, yeah.
It's being slow, yeah.
Would you guys like to hear a house track I made with
Yeah.
Acto, or like a...
Let me hear the house, dude. You're actually
Oh,
nice at house.
Should be throwing.
We
Like
can,
bars?
yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, bet. I'm down with that. That'd be sick. I'd love to hear you guys talk.
So this is Duskilla, Bridge of Death, like I said earlier.
Viewer submissions, bitch.
So robbing a Camelot? To seek the Holy Grail? I don't know that.
Super dope. One thing I would say is maybe back off on the reverb on the basses just slightly. I feel like there are a few of them that really swell up in terms of reverb, but otherwise really, really solid. And I think that
Yeah.
maybe you could back off a little bit of the processing on the basses just to give them just a slight bit more movement, but really, really sick sound design. I really, really dig that.
So wait, hold up. I'm just I'm giving it a quick listen on my headphones because I heard it through through you playing it. So I'm gonna just listen real quick on my headphones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. It was some real death stuff
Yeah.
shit.
Super dope.
I like the mid drop speed.
Yeah.
That sounds
Almost
cool.
old schooly. Super tight. Yeah, you
Done?
go for it.
Okay, so I thought the sound design was fucking nuts. Like the guns have that really metallic layer to them. Almost sounds like shell casings falling to the floor. I thought that was fucking sick. I think for my taste, I felt like the basses might have been a little too wide. Like they could have been centered a little more. Especially like if someone's playing this out live, it's something you got to be careful for because some clubs use mono systems, so your basses will kind of start to disappear a little bit. So like the tune is really solid. I love the sound design. I love the vibe. That's what I'm saying. Like maybe before you're done, listen to your song in mono. Like try to make sure it'll translate to mono well, just to make sure it'll play well on all systems.
All right. So moving on, we have.
Here, wait. I have a tune that I promised a friend that I would get to, and he's actually in the stream. So I was hoping we could do this one real quick. I'm sending the link right now. This is the guy I was mentioning before. His name's Diamond Shock. He's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
He has been producing for just as long as me. He is a fucking savage.
Right, let's see.
He,
Oh yeah.
I'm his last.
Wow.
But it was on
Oh,
Ultra
not
Gore.
bad.
Yeah, and since then he's rebranded. This tune I think is gonna blow you guys away.
Nice. All right. Well, here we go.
Hey.
This is Diamond Shock Mechanize.
Mech-Hop Mondays.
Finally, Howard.
Yeah, that's super, super fire. Super tight mix on it, too. I really, really dig that. It's a really fun, definitely one of those, like, show vibe tracks, you know what I mean?
Oh
Like,
yeah, dude. I've played this one live so many times, and him and I often go back to back out here, and it always slays the crowd. That tune, like the crowd is always feeling it, like gun fingers, stank faces.
Oh, yeah. The whole 9 yards.
You guys got any comments on it?
I mean, it sounds like he knows what he's doing, he knows what he's going for, so I would just say, like, keep going.
I'd say y'all should tell him to fucking release it.
Yeah, release it.
He's been working on it for a long time.
Awesome. Yeah, so unfortunately we're kind of short on time, so I think we could start rounding it out with our final questions here, and then hopefully next time we're always open to, like, you resubmitting the same track for our next episodes, and even if you just want to throw whatever tracks we didn't get to into our Facebook group, which, by the way, is facebook.com/group/Mech-Hop Militia. We'll get to them in there, and we're always willing to provide feedback regardless of if we're in the middle of a stream or not. So definitely encourage that.
I realized my microphone was muted. I just wanted to say I actually really enjoyed that time in Shock. That was tight. I was just
Awesome.
Please send me it.
Oh, yeah.
I was like saying stuff, trying to interrupt you guys, but my mic was muted.
So let me Oh, I'm sorry, man. I keep interrupting you. Go ahead.
No, yeah, we'll do those questions.
Yeah.
Do you mind if we play out the stream with the house track? I want everyone.
Yeah. Let's get it. Send that.
Yeah.
So the first question, Anthony, is how do you start your tracks? What do you do first in terms of, is it drums, is it the intro, is it sound design, is it a flow, what do you do?
So, that one really, really varies, like, with whatever I'm feeling. Sometimes I might feel like, I really want to lay out some nasty, some nasty drums, some real crazy basses, or sometimes I might be like, I want to start with a melody, or some projects I dedicate solely to sound design. Solely to sound design. So I might not even do any melodic stuff or any mix down other than sound design kind of mixing. I might not I might not do anything except just strictly sound design. And so it really depends. It really depends. It's hard for me to say. I always start with this because I never
That's good though.
stick to a
I
certain
encourage
routine.
that, like I think that's something that everybody should try and practice is even if it's just once in a while, maybe you always start with sound design, maybe like every ninth project or something, start try and build it from something else. Or especially if you're running low on inspiration, start somewhere else in terms of the songwriting and everything, and try and get your brain thinking, because it's definitely bound to get you thinking differently than you would if you started the same way that you always do. So yeah, and I super encourage that. So right on. I try and be the same way, So the second question is going to be, do you prefer to do most of your sound design within the synth, or do you do a lot in terms of post that can change the tonality and kind of change up the vibe of the sound?
I do most of my sound design inside of my synth. My post processing is really to kind of clean it up, kind of shape it for my mix down. But I do a lot of resampling of my synths. So I don't really consider that post processing necessarily. I don't know. Like I feel like when I hear the term post processing, I think doing mix down stuff to it. So
peace out, foreign.
Yeah, peace out, Wassam. Love you.
So what do you do a lot of like stretching in terms of resampling, or is it mainly just arrangement?
Okay. I do a lot. I'll do I love in Ableton how you can just destroy sounds like so quick, especially with so many different warp methods and stuff like that. So I can take a sound and just mangle it until it's something totally different. So I'll time stretch, I'll reverse, I'll transpose, I will try to make it more granular. Like with different like
Tones,
what's it called, like the texture method. Yeah, so I'll do a lot of different resampling methods.
Very cool. And the next question is there one track in particular that you feel like looking back on is where your sound kind of clicked for you?
Yeah, so it's hard because I feel like I have a few different styles.
When did you feel like you knew what you were doing and you were in charge of like the direction things were taking, maybe?
Yeah, I feel like it's like it's a deep tune of mine, and it dates back. I was probably 15, 16 when I made it. It's called Lurker. And it was like at the time really quality for my stuff. Like at the time I was still learning a lot. I was a lot younger. But for my quality then, like I feel like it's still decent quality like today, like looking back on it. And I also felt like it was one of those things where, I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I feel like it was very unique in terms of ideas.
That's great.
So like I feel like I that's where I really started to like figure things out in terms of not doing just like what everyone else is doing. Like that's when I really tried to start doing my own thing and making my own sound and like really kind of building off my own sound and stuff like that.
Awesome. And my last question for you is, what's one plugin that you kind of use religiously that has to go on every project?
So, okay. Fuck. So I'll split it into like sound design and I'll split it into like mix sound. For sound design, I mainly use Serum. I love Serum. It's my main tool for sound
It's
design.
pretty unstoppable.
9 times out of 10. Yeah, 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
It is Serum.
Yeah.
And then for mix down stuff, or I guess mix down kind of sound design, but more so effects, like not like synthesis, is this plugin that my friend Autolepsy got me into. Shout out Drew. He works for Unfiltered Audio. I don't know if you guys have heard of them. They make really, really, really crazy stuff. So I love using it. It's called Biome. It's one of my favorites. I do like their synth. I do have a lot of discovering to do with that. That's why I haven't mentioned it as one of my favorites. I do like it, but I have to, kind of dive more into it. But their plugin Biome is insane. It really can do anything. It can do, EQ, compression, distortion, delay, reverb, like time effects. It can do granular stuff. It can do, spectral processing. It can really do like anything. Anything. So it's definitely worth checking out if you guys haven't. It's an awesome plugin, and I've been using it so much.
Is it like a
lately,
channel strip kind of plugin? Like you can use multiple things at once, or
Yes. So you can add shit over and over and over again, and then it has like envelopes in it and stuff like
Very
that.
cool.
What's crazy about their plugins, though, let me go off on a little tangent real quick here. I'm sorry if I'm taking too much time. But they have a synth called Lion. And that synth is crazy because it can do not just like one style. It can do wavetable. It can do FM. It can do, like analog stuff. It can do granular stuff. But then it also has their plugin Biome built into it.
Oh, wow.
As an effects model.
Oh, wow.
It's incredible.
Interesting.
That sounds awesome. I'm definitely...
That's my favorite animal, so I gotta check that out.
Hey, definitely check that shit out. And if you guys want to just know more about it, my dude Drew Madden, Autolepsy, he's the guy to talk to.
I definitely will. That sounds right up my alley. I'm a geek for sound design, so I'm sold.
Hell yeah. Dude, it's like perfect for guys like us, like the guys who love weird shit and sound design shit and kind of geekier shit.
Yeah.
So
yeah, right on. That sounds super fun. All right, Scott, did you want to shoot over that track or?
Yes, sir, son. Great.
Scott.
I got a tune too
Very
if that's cool after his.
Yeah. Will come out. Might be
Subject
a year from
32.
now. I'm actually. It's gonna be called 31 Reject.
Oh wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
All right.
Subject 31 too.
This is Subject 31 translation with Ecto.
Translation. done got lost in translation. I done got lost in translation. I do this shit for my nation. I fuck a bitch.
Yeah, that's super, super tight. You definitely have those
Thank
flows
you, man.
down in that like 128
Dude.
range.
What I was really impressed by is it's still you. It's a different style, it's a different sound, but it's still you. And I can hear it. Like, for example, like one of my all-time favorites from you is Relentless.
Oh, thank you, man. Fuck
Dude,
yeah.
like the intro in that tune is fucking incredible.
Fuck
And
yeah. I missed that track.
that tune is, dude, I've been playing it out for fucking years. And like it kind of gives me that vibe almost. You know what I mean? Like with like the rap vocals and like the kind of like it's kind of like high energy,
Yeah.
like and that Relentless intro was too. So like I feel like it still just sounds like you, just like repackaged, which is awesome.
Thank you so much, man. Yeah, that's why it was tough for me to actually get the balls to like decide to do a side project. Still sounding like me, right? But
Can I
yeah,
ask you
I
something?
think it's the right move. Yeah.
Like why a side project?
I was gonna not do it again. Like I keep going back and forth on it. But the thing is I really want to just keep playing dubstep stuff for the most part, and I'd love to play some house stuff too. So it gives me the opportunity to do full house sets and then do full dubstep stuff instead of having to like.
You still could though. You could. I mean, you know, as Subject 31, you could still do that.
True. So that's the dilemma I'm sort of having. Yeah. I don't know. It's one of those things where like the only reason why I'm doing a side project though is like I'm not separating the names too much. Like you'll know it's still me.
Right. Oh yeah. That's true.
So like if I was doing a completely different name, it might be too much effort. But I want them to still be very related.
Yeah.
But it's just so people aren't disappointed. I'm putting out House with Subject 31, and then eventually, if enough people follow 31 Rejects, they're not like gonna be surprised if I make something kind of dubsteppy under that name.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. That makes sense. So, yo, before we call it a day, can you play that thing I sent in the Facebook chat?
DMVU blocked CRYSUS remix.
Oh, sick.
Gonna block.
That was
super,
cool,
super tight. Really cool show vibe
I
again.
mean
Thank you, boys.
Let's see.
Downloads enabled on that if
Word.
you guys want it. Yeah.
Let
So
me
I
know.
mean, it's still I might do a little more to it. But
It's sounding really tight right now, like the mix down, the songwriting, and everything. It sounds really, really good. I like the restraint that you used on some of the sounds in it. You know, it really added something to it. And obviously, like the more saw-based sub-bass kind of 808 that you have going on. It's fun to do like not so processed sounds over a harder sub bass. You know, I think that's a really cool vibe, and I've been
yeah,
experimenting with that a bit more lately myself.
yeah, it was fun. It's fun because like, dude, so I am just a fucking huge fan of that tune, and
Yeah, me too.
I actually got the stems from DMVU, like in his group, and I just like shit
Yeah.
myself when I saw that. So I had to do something, and like I wanted to keep the vibe the same. You know what I mean? Like the vibe of the original track, like that I fell in love with. Like I wanted to keep that vibe the same. So
Sweet. You knocked it out of
Yeah,
the park, man.
definitely.
I'm gonna have
hey,
to give it a call just in on my monitors, but it like from what it sounded like sounds
Yeah.
fantastic.
I appreciate that, brother. Hey Scott. By the way, I want to sort you out some new shit. Uh,
Yes,
so
please.
I'm gonna send you that once we're done here.
All right, I'll play this liquid thing that I've been working on to round it out, because I would feel weird not playing anything of my own.
Hell yeah.
The intro's still a little desolate, so bear with me.
I like it.
I'll just fast forward to the second drop here, because I got the drum step change up.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Oh,
But
oh, man. Dude, that second half, oh, like the first half I love, but that second half, is it like, is it still
yeah,
like
yeah, it
174?
just goes halftime. Yep.
So it's just halftime? Oh, oh, man.
Cool. I'm glad you like it.
Mwah.
Super glad you like it.
You get a golf clap for that one.
Thanks. Thank
Very
you,
well
thank
done,
you.
man. I did think one thing like in the intro. I know you said it's like still being worked on, but like I feel like in that one section before the build, like that breakdown intro section. I feel like you should
Oh
just add some
yeah,
percussion.
that it's gonna
I
be
feel like
that and like a
oh,
few like effects, like ambiance kind of things and everything to try and pull it
okay, well,
together.
yeah. I mean, it's just my ears
Yeah.
wanted to hear that. You know, like either like some like stuff in like a
Uh.
higher register. You know, like. But yeah, that's the only thing. Like other than that, like oh,
Thanks, dude.
mwah,
Appreciate it. That was the first time I did like
shit's
the
fire.
it's like 4 bars with one snare and then 4 bars with another snare.
Yeah, I noticed that. I
That was
noticed
kind
that.
of fun to try and make that work because like I had heard like my boy Des McMahon who does a lot of drum and bass. He's done like drum patterns like that, and I'd never done one, so like I just wanted to go for it.
Oh yeah, I'm doing like I'm getting kind of bored of dubstep. You know, I'm finishing up the
Uh-huh.
projects I have. I have this like I don't know halftime shit, and it's like really hip hop based. It's got like Lil Wayne snippets of
Uh-huh.
Lil Wayne vocals, and I'll send that to you guys
Yeah.
because I think you'll like it. I mean, you don't have to play it. You don't have to play it right now. I'm
Yeah,
just saying,
I like that
you know, in
halftime
general, to
shit.
keep
I have
fun.
one that I could actually send you to. I'm gonna get
Yeah,
Android to do vocals on it.
please.
Yeah, I got some halftime drum and bass stuff.
Can we
Yeah.
all trade that shit
Hell
like
yeah.
maybe after the call?
All right. Well, thank
Sure.
you everybody for
Fuck yeah.
listening.
Yeah.
You know, we went 30 minutes over the time, but sometimes it's like that.
Yeah, just good to
Um,
chat. You know, we get to chat.
yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
it's nice chatting with you, CRYSUS. Thank you for
Ah,
joining
thanks,
us.
man. It's been. I mean, we haven't talked in a while, so it's good to talk again, Scott. And
That's
always good to talk to you, Colin.
Yeah. Is there anything last minute that either of you guys want to plug before we kind of take it on the road?
Yeah, my SoundCloud, my Spotify. You know, just search Crisis on.
Uh-huh.
I'll come up. I got a lot of stuff coming real soon.
Awesome.
Like I don't want to give too much away, but
Very cool. Well, we'll definitely be on the lookout for it.
So.
Scott, you got anything for us as of right now?
No, not as of right now. Just maybe keep an eye out for Big Set VIP eventually.
Cool. And
Trying to get that one out. That'll be on 40 ounce Colt.
me
oh, good shit, man. I'll definitely be on the look for that.
Me personally, I'm trying to have my next single out either late this month or very early next month. So definitely keep an eye out, and we'll have some more information on a future stream for you guys in that Facebook group, which one last time is facebook.com/group/Mech-Hop Militia. So thank you guys so much for staying with us and participating. It really means the world. We love doing this for you.
Mech-Hop Mondays.
All right, guys.